Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Wendol from Dolphin Financial Group. And today we're going to be talking about Social Security cost of living adjustments. Yes, Social Security COLAs. And in particular, we're going to answer the question I get quite frequently, which is, hey, Dan, if I delay my Social Security, will I still get the cost of living adjustments, even though I'm not collecting right now? Shouldn't I collect right away in order to get that cost of living adjustment? I hear that quite often, and we're going to answer that question today. And when I say we, I mean Tony Shore and I. There's Tony Shore looking quite
Oh,
confused, actually.
I was
You're the guy.
surprised.
You're the guy that told me you wanted to talk about cost of living increases today because you saw the news for next year's. We're getting an increase.
I don't think I ever said that I wanted to talk about that. I'm totally denying it.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, Tony. I'm going to ask you the question that I get often, which is, do I get the cost of living adjustments to my Social Security benefit if I'm delaying benefits, or do I lose out?
You lose out, I believe. If you delay your benefits, you do not get the cost of living adjustment.
Where is my buzzer? Wrong.
Oh, you do? They added in. Okay.
Get them. All right. So let's talk about this. Cost of living adjustments started in 1975 when Tony was early 40s. And each year.
Was I even born
yet? That's a good question. Viewers want to know. In the comments, viewers, put how old you think Tony is. I bet you they think that you're younger than I am, which makes me sad. But each year, a formula determines what the cost of living increase is going to be. And we've done shows on it. I'll put it up there if you haven't seen it. Tony and I have talked about it, and Tony's ranted about how upset he is about the formula and how it's not tied to seniors, it's tied to nonsense. And anyway, that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about whether or not you get it. But since 1975, there's been a formula. It used to be, I think, Congress would meet and determine and say, here's what we're going to give the masses. 1975, they made a formula. Okay. So they do that. And then each year, and then they start giving more in January. Okay. So this year, the highest COLA ever in history was in 1980. And that was a 14.3% increase.
Wow.
Yes. And that was high. That was high. That was the highest it's ever been. Now, we had a really big increase last year for 2022, and that was 5.9. And so in that recent show we did, I said we might see double digits. We might see double digits in 2023 at the end of this year. And so they've announced it. Social Security has announced, and we're now in October of 2022. They've announced what they're going to start giving as an increase. And Tony, do you know what it is?
I do. It is 8.7%. Didn't quite hit double digits.
Yeah. No, we didn't. And we all thought we were. Well, no one thought we were. I think people said we can get close, but I thought we were going to be over.
Yeah, I thought 9. My guess was 9.3 because I had heard that at one time floated by some talking head, like in the 9s, between 9 and 9.5. So I thought we'd be over 9, but 8.7 is close, and it's still the biggest we've had since 1980. 40 years, right?
The last time we had anything this high was 1981.
81, yeah.
And so, yeah, it's been 40 years. That was 11.2%. So you had 14% in 80, 11.2 in 81.
And then the next highest, it kept going down from there, but the next highest after 81, the next highest was last year, 5.9.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So pretty high. Back then. Are we going to go back there? And so a lot of people thought, including myself, we might see double digits this year. And here's the link, by the way, if anyone wants to see what the history was, you can go there and look at what cost of living increases were. But the big news is
SSA.gov, of course. Yes.
The big news is 8.7 starting in 2023.
Yeah. Big headline today. They just announced it this morning, the official announcement. They've been saying for a few weeks, hey, we're going to get a big increase. People have been guessing, but now it's official. It's 8.7%. And this is a good thing, right? A good big increase for cost of living because inflation's high.
Well, it depends. Okay. I mean, it's great that people, so I do love the cost of living aspect of Social Security, which is why I think it's super important that people are
Yeah.
smart about when they claim.
Sure.
But that means there's inflation. So
Right.
no one likes inflation. I
Yeah,
haven't
there
met
has to
anyone
be
that likes
really high
inflation.
inflation because the Social Security increase is never actually what actual inflation is at. It's always lower. So
Well,
if they're giving us an 8.7 increase in our Social Security, that actual inflation has to be higher than that typically. I mean, the government's formula for figuring out inflation is a joke. So, and that's what they're going to say. Oh, it's 8.7, right?
right. Well, I agree. The inflation is probably higher than that, real inflation,
Yeah.
but the numbers came in and now we're down to, it went lower, not as low as we wanted, but the Fed's raising rates. So no one likes the inflation, but the cost of living, anyone on Social Security does like it, right? They do. And a lot of people say, oh, they're going to give us the cost of living increase, but they're going to raise Medicare anyway.
Medicare, so it washes out.
But no, Medicare is going to go down next year.
Right.
Boom.
So for one of the first times ever, it doesn't wash out. That it always washes out when the cost of living is, for 20 some plus years, we've been at 0 to 3% in inflation, right? And so the cost of living would be 3%, and then they'd raise Medicare costs 3%, and so it would wash out. But because inflation's so high, they actually had to give people more money to spend, I think.
Yep. And they lowered the cost of Medicare for next year, which is interesting news. That's mainly due to the Alzheimer's drugs not being as used as much as possible, the costs being lower than expected. But Tony, this still doesn't answer the question, which is, do I get the cost of living increase if I'm not on Social Security?
And you're saying, I said, no, you wouldn't, but you say, yes, you do.
Cost of living increases are added to your primary insurance amount, your PIA, which is fancy speak for what you get when you hit your full retirement age. So at your full retirement age, you get 100% of your PIA. Cost of living increases are added to your PIA when you're 62. Here's the quote from Social Security. Here's the link. You can go and read this publication from Social Security. Their words, not mine. You're eligible, I quote, you're eligible for cost of living benefit increases starting with the year you turn age 62. End quote. Sourced SSA.gov.
But here's my argument. Sure, they say your cost of living adjustment or your Social Security primary insurance amount goes up with that cost of living adjustment. But if you don't file at 62, so this in 23, it goes up 8.7%. But if I don't file until 2027, I don't realize that money.
You do.
You see what I'm saying?
You don't see the money in your pocket because you're not touching it, but your PIA goes up by 8.7%. So next year, if you're 62,
right,
then you look and you're not claiming. If you're claiming, you get the 8.7, you see it immediately, right? Because they're claiming, it goes up.
Yeah.
If you're delaying, which should be what most people do, is delay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
If you delay, you will see your PIA go up even though you're not claiming. So that when you do claim, it'll be 8.7% higher next year. And then you get compounding cost of living increases from age 62 all the way to 70 if you delay to 70. So
you do still realize some gains, even if you wait a few years to file.
And this is not to be confused with the amount you get increasing as you wait. You get 100% at age 67 for most people now.
Right.
So at 62, you're getting 70 something percent. Every year you wait,
but you're getting a percentage of a higher number
of a higher amount, which is your PIA.
Right.
And then your PIA is also increasing with the cost of living once you hit 62. Now for us, we're not 62. So our PIA is not impacted by the cost of living increase.
Right.
But
I get that.
Ours is still growing because there's a 35-year formula.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I think that
So
caller was probably calling to weigh in on our argument. That's why the phone rang. Is somebody was like, "No, no, no, Dan's wrong and Tony's right." I'm sure that's what they were going to say.
you could
But
see that I am not in my regular office today.
no, you're
I am
not.
actually in our Spring Hill office, which is north of Tampa area.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't have much control over the phone system. I thought I unplugged it, but I did unplug it, and yet it's got no power yet. It rang. So I'm a little nervous, to be
Yeah,
honest.
that's scary. Halloween is coming up. But no, you're right. I mean, and obviously I'm just guessing you're the financial expert here. And so I'm glad you clarified that for me and our listeners, because Social Security and these benefits can get confusing, and it's good for people to know, hey, I am going to get this.
Well, a lot of the chatter that I've seen is don't delay Social Security because you're going to miss out on the 8.7% increase. Take it now.
Right.
So, I mean, we talked a lot about when to take Social Security. We have a whole series of shows on that. But, and I'll put them up here, you can watch. But it's false that you miss out on the cost of living increase if you are delaying Social Security. Yeah, if you're not 62, you don't get the increase, but then you can't claim anyway, right? So if you, let's say you waited till 70, do you miss out? No, you get compounding 8 years of cost of living adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
So from 62 all the way to 70, compounding. So your PIA is going up. Well, PIA maxes out at your full retirement age, which is 67. And then if you wait from 67 to 70, that's 3 years where you get delayed retirement credits. That's 8%, not compounding. So what would happen is 62 is your PIA is here, cost of living, cost of living, cost of living, cost of living for 8 years. And then when you're at 70, then you get a 24% bump because you get 3 years worth of delayed retirement credits. So you get a delayed retirement credit bump on top of the cost of living. So
nice.
It's not lost. And that's very important for people to understand.
That's good. And I was confused on that, but what you're saying makes sense. And that's true.
Tony, you cut out for a second. Can you repeat that? You were what? You were confused? Is that what you said?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you must have heard wrong, because surprise, 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 surprise. Nothing but noise right here. NBN, nothing but noise, was confused. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It is the formula for PIA is confusing. The formula for Social Security is confusing. And then we're not talking about that. We're talking about the cost of living increases, but you thought that you didn't get it. And that's a reasonable assumption because that's information out there, but it's wrong. And I think it's important because I get this a lot. A lot of people say, I'm going to miss it, but you're not. And that's the, I want to conclude with that and say, delaying does not mean you lose out on the cost of living increases if you're delaying from age 62 onward. And I think it's important for people to realize that one of the main reasons why I love Social Security is because of the cost of living. There's 3 reasons why I love Social Security.
Yeah,
number
COLA
1, it's
is
backed
great
by the government.
Yep.
And number 2, it has a cost of living increase.
Yep.
Right? Number 3 is it's not all taxed. We've done shows on taxation on Social Security. But that second one, the cost of living increases, you don't get that in most other income sources. Not even a raise. Most people don't get an 8.7% raise.
No,
I love it, right? And so if you delay, you get that raise, you get a higher percentage, you get a higher cost of living on a higher amount, compounding effect. Delaying Social Security is usually the thing to do. Most people don't. It's not always the thing to do, but here's one of the reasons why you should consider delaying Social Security. And so when I hear stuff like, oh, you don't get the cost of living, you might as well take it. I'm here to correct people and make sure they understand. No, you do. Even more reason to want to delay. So,
yep.
God bless Social Security.
God bless Social Security indeed. So, Tony, again, you were wrong. I was right. No, I'm just kidding.
That's why I'm here
to get the word out. It's good to get
to make sure you look good.
If people are interested, hey, okay, great. Now that I know that, I still don't know if I want to delay. Talk to me about it. I have software. I use this book over here, Social Security. We have software that does runs all the scenarios for you and says, here's why you should delay or not.
Over
My spouse should take it
20,000
here.
calculations your proprietary software, the Social Security Maximization Report runs. And there's
And
no cost for that. It's
Nope.
there's no charge for the actual report. And that's part of the initial consultation if people have questions, right?
Yep, I get calls all the time. If you want to call, the number's going to come up on the screen. Dial extension 5. That'll get the radio show. Tony and I, we get those messages. So we hear from people that say, hey, I want that report. Just call or go to the website and ask for their Social Security report. We'll give it to you. On top of that, if you have a suggestion or a question for the show, leave it on the voicemail.
Yeah, we
We'll
love to
answer
hear
it,
from the listeners.
right?
I
This
love hearing the
show-
comments. The guy
Yeah.
who made the comment and said Dan's great, but that Tony guy, why is he on there? He's nothing but noise. I'll never forget that. Shout out to him, by the way.
Hopefully he's listening. If he is,
God bless
comment
bless
below,
you,
'cause that'll
sir.
give-
God bless you, sir.
it's got a lot of legs, that comment. So
I love it.
anyone
I
that
think it's
wants,
awesome.
anyone that wants a Social Security Maximization report, let us know. We'll get it to you. I'm going to put the contact information up next. Tony, thanks for a good show. I'm picking on you, but no, that was really, you had a 50-50 chance and you missed it. So maybe next time, everyone. See you next week.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only.
This show is not investment advice.
Dan Wendol nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency.
Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida.
Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance, Inc.
Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc. and Dolphin Insurance, Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group.
You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies or ideas.